if you happen to have an old fire hydrant laying around and you've been looking for something to do with it, and you also happen to have an old covered well, they'll drill you a hole in the concrete on your covered well and make yourself an operating fire hydrant. We'll pull this 3/4 cap off. And then you can see open. Don't even have to use a hydrant wrench. So there you are. If you want, I'll give you a quick little, I made a few little small videos on the process on what I did. If you want to check that out, I'll go ahead and play that for you now. Yeah, I've done a horrible job recording the steps here, but basically I got the stem aligned, figured out where it needed to be, cut it. These struts are just drilled and tapped, and they just got one bolt. I've got some Loctite on those, and then this is going to be the switch, which I got a little off on, but we made it work. So as you can see, that's just going to be, or that is a push button momentary. So there's off, and that would be on. So now I just gotta drill a couple holes, got it marked where I want them. I'm gonna drill 2 3/8 holes, put 3/8 bolts in there, and then we'll just use strut nuts. That way I can adjust this as needed, and then it should work pretty good. All right, so I got the 3/8 holes drilled, and now I'll grab some strut nuts and I can go ahead and bolt it on.
Here I'm drilling and tapping a 5/16 hole. I'm going to put a 5/16 eyelet bolt in there, and then what I'm going to do is use a carabiner and a rope and just clip onto that, and that will be holding the weight of the pump, so the pump's not held up by the cord or the hose. And then you can just unclip that and pull it out easily if you need to pull the pump out or anything.
Well, I think I've figured out the hydrant. So I hooked that switch up. That's just a momentary push button. You can see the stems off of it right now. So then if I start operating, the stem comes down, pushes the switch. So that should work. And then that's my connection there. Obviously I got to get a longer nipple, and I think I got just enough room to bring that over and 90 down.
So I ended up doing things a little different than what I'm explaining here, so I'll just kind of talk over it. However, that did all stay. I just put it on the other side instead of that side. But what I was going to do was really complicated, and then it hit me that I could just use a garden hose and make this really simple. But I was trying to make a means to where I could get that cap off, get everything in, but anyways, this part did stay, and what that is just a hose bib with a 3/4 outside thread and then the 1/2 inch inside. So I've got the cap there is tapped 3/4, and then everything plumbing up to it will be 1/2 inch. So I ended up with just a 1/2 inch garden hose. You'll see in the later, and you'll also notice I ended up switching this around. I didn't have the clearance I needed, so that box got mounted in there a little different.
All right, so we got it set. Those bolts going around there, I really only have 2 of them that are anchored in. The rest of those are just siliconed on for looks, but 2 anchors, Hilti 1/2-inch drop-in anchors holding it down. 2 will be plenty. You can see our seal tights running up through here, and then I'm getting ready to make this connection now, and then I gotta put my cord end, the cord coming out for the pump to plug into, and then we'll put this back together. But there's the switch I used. I think it's rated for 9 amps if I remember right, and that was my problem, was finding a momentary push button switch that had a high amp capacity. But it's rated for 9. That pump's running about, it says 7. That's going to be at, you know, pretty well full load. So hoping it holds up. If not, we'll see if we can come up with a better switch, but we'll give that one a shot for now. I made this to where all I gotta do is pull that bonnet off, and then you just loosen these and it just slides off, then open it up. So it's not super difficult to switch, change out the switch if I had to. But we'll get this wired up and see what's next. Probably dropping the pump in next. All right, so got it all wired up, just like any light switch, just using our hots on the switch. You can see I got everything grounded in there, and the box is grounded. I don't want to take any chances dealing with water like this, water and electricity. And this will all be on a GFCI also. And then you can see I put the old terminal compound goo on. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, wow. You guys okay? Yeah, so put that on there just to make sure, kind of help with any corrosion that might want to take place. I also squirted that in the wire nuts. No matter what you do out here, there will be some moisture and corrosion, so hopefully that will help slow it down. And then I'll be mad when I have to change out that switch, because that stuff will be all over it, but hopefully I won't be changing it out due to corrosion. So we'll get this cover back on, and then we'll remount this onto here and be ready to drop the pump in. I'm not sure if I showed this in the other videos, but I'm gonna run that operating nut, and you'll see that stem. Let's go the right way. The stem's gonna come down and stop. So we're maxed out, and I want to do that prior to putting this switch on. That way we can't ever extend it down too far and damage it. All right, so we got that all mounted back up, and I don't know if I showed you, that's sealed. It's actually a strain relief also, even though it doesn't have that little Chinese finger deal on it. And I was going to show you one other thing. So I had to add a little cord to it, and so this is just, you know, a regular extension cord plugged into the pump, and then I wrapped it in this Scotch rubber tape, wrapped it really tight with that, and then hit it again with some old Super 33 Plus. This shouldn't ever be down in the water. It should be above the water level, but you know, I just never know if the water is going to come up or not. So did that, and also that'll help keep any moisture out of the plug. And then I also have some of that compound stuff in there to help with any corrosion. I put it on the plug before I plugged it in. So I think we're ready to drop the pump in next, which is going to be hard to video, so I don't know if I'll do that. All right, so I got the hose and cord and everything. I'll cut the length. I got a rope on there that's going to hold the pump. You can see a couple zip ties. They're just there to kind of keep things somewhat straight. The cord's hooked up to there, and then our hose here. And then I put this little carabiner. It's a nice, I'm not sure what you call that. What is that? Figure 8. Then you go back to it. Anyways, proud of that knot. But yeah, that's going, I'll show you, if I haven't already, I'll show you where this hooks inside. And we're ready to drop this pump in. I think I've said that about 4 times now. Okay, I'm going to attempt to video this. It's going to be hard because I'm holding my phone. I don't know if the camera is really getting this. We got to get it to go down in there, and there it went. Beautiful. Okay, I'm going to need 2 hands from here, or else we might have a pump laying at the bottom. So it's all hooked up. Just garden hose connection here. It's hard to tell, but there's no tension on the hose. All the weight is on this right here, and you can see just that little carabiner hooked in there. So this pump should be real easy to pull out of here. If I need to replace it, just undo the garden hose and then unhook that and pull it out. The hardest part will be, you know, all the rubber tape and electrical tape around that plug end. That'll take the longest. So I'm gonna go ahead, everything's ready. I'm gonna go ahead and set this top back on. So I pulled this up for a minute. There's my cord end. I'm putting a zip tie right there. And the whole reason is, let me drop all this back in. Okay. The reason for that, so that, see where it is right there? That, as this cord drops back in, that'll keep that plug from ever coming in contact with the water. Even though that water's way down there, just as a safety precaution in case, you know, that water level comes up any higher. As I put all this back down, you know, there's going to be slack there. So with that zip tie right there, that'll keep that cord end from, you know, getting down into the water. Well, only one issue with it. Got everything finished. The switch said normally open. That push button switch I put inside, and got it off Scamazon, so I should have known better, but it was a normally closed switch. No big deal, still works. I'll get a different switch at some point, but our open arrow is going to be incorrect. So we'll actually go the other way. But that's the only thing. It just opens actually closed, but I'll change that switch, get the right switch in there. It actually does pretty good for a little pump down in there. So I bought some new chains, just it was easier than cleaning up the old. But they come like that, and you have to bend these, and they make a tool, and I think it was $175 or something for the tool. And so I'll show you what I'm gonna, well, it's how I did it over on this side, and it worked. All right, so the rag's here just to try and keep things from getting all scratched up. But this is just a, goes on, it's like a little vise for my drill press. I can show you it when I get it off of there. But you can see I got the chain coming down and then just bolted through here. And then the jaws are on the chain. And then I'm just tightening it up. So far it's been working. We'll see how it does on this side. All right, that worked on that end. It's all bent how it should be. I'll take loosen this, take that bolt out, and it's that one's done, and I got one more to do. So I was kind of surprised this is actually working, but I didn't know what else to do. You guys got any better ideas, let me know. Hopefully I don't have to ever do this again. It is 100% complete now. Got the new chains on, and I switched the switch out for one that is normally open, so that when the stem comes in contact with it, it will close it. And we'll give you another demonstration here. Also wanting to time that bucket's empty. Just want to see how long it takes. So that's pretty full. That's about 45 seconds. Just counting in my head there. So there it is. So we got it to where open, turns on, close, shuts off. So that's what we wanted. So there, it's 100% complete, like I said. So I have the conduit running under here, and it goes under the concrete and then up, and then that's a GFCI, and then it runs on along the deck and then into the house. Really don't have anything else to add to it. It was a fun project. If you happen to come across a fire hydrant, well, you can make yourself if you come across a fire hydrant and you have an old well, you can make yourself an operating fire hydrant. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.